This is my 1983 Apple Lisa, the short-lived computer that contains Apple's first attempt at a graphical user interface. And today we're finally going to get this thing to boot up. She's a spinning. So stay tuned. And if you enjoy brute forcing computer history, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. In our last video on this lovely behemoth of beige, the original power supply exploded in a dramatic plume of 40-year-old reefa capacitor smoke. We repaired it, fixed the display, and found out that the hard drive was totally unresponsive. Well, I just got in this magical piece of modern kit, the ES Profile, which uses an ESP32 microcontroller to emulate a profile hard drive for this thing and other machines, and read disk images from an SD card, much more reliable than a 40-year-old mechanical hard drive. So today, I want to see if we can revive the Lisa's original widget hard drive, then we're going to install this and see if we can install Lisa OS from floppy disk images, and then we're probably going to find that this keyboard is totally dead. That's pretty common. I'd be more surprised if this keyboard worked. And then, hopefully, finally, we shall bask in the glory of the rather slow, kind of awkward, and in 1983, absolutely cutting-edge Lisa OS. So let's crack into this thing and have a look around. I'm still so astonished by how easy to take apart and modular the Lisa is. It was designed from the ground up to easily come apart. There's just two little hooks in the bottom here. And check it out, the front panel comes right off. If you want to get the drives out, no problem. Thumb screw right here. And the whole shebang slides right out. A few easy to disconnect cables. And look how enormous this hard drive is. There are 4 different PCBs, and there are 6 screws around the outside. I only have 5 of them. So let's get this out of here. Almost forgot the fan connector. Now the problem with this drive is that the old data make it happener does not want to spin when the thing is powered on.
Seems fine.
And we're going to try to alleviate that a bit by simply plugging this into power. And then with power applied, I'm going to spin by hand and see if we can't free it up. Right after this quick word about today's sponsor, Delete Me. Okay, story time. When I was a wee young naive retro, I shared my full name and my childhood home address on a vintage computing forum. Search engines picked up this forum post, and then the data brokers got it. And for years, that stupid address haunted me online. And this is exactly the kind of thing that today's sponsor Delete Me can help to address. Since starting this very public YouTube adventure, I've made attempts to manually clean up my personal information. Well, Delete Me not only found this stuff, but showed me a ton of brokers and websites that have it, and helped me delete it. I wonder if that's where they got the name Delete Me from. But seriously, it's harder than ever today to keep all of your private info private. And with all the dangers out there online, like phishing scams, identity theft, angry people on Reddit, it's more important than ever to protect your private information. Get 20% off your Delete Me US consumer plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/actionretro, promo code actionretro at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/actionretro, code actionretro. Now, interestingly, the Lisa has a couple of kill switches that need to be pressed in by the outer shell for the thing to actually turn on, but through the cunning use of a tiny bit of garbage, we can bypass those switches rather effectively. Oh, look at that. She's a spinning. Boy, that makes horrible noises. All right, does not want to boot from the hard drive yet. And maybe this will fare better if it's laying down instead of laying on its side. So we are going to be using a magical device called the ES Profile, which is completely open source. And what this does is take a flashed ESP32 module with custom firmware, which allows it to read a disk image called profile.image from an SD card. And this plugs right into the widget data cable and original widget power cable, and then can be easily mounted to the inside of the drive cage here. But we can actually do a lot more with this thing than just load a single disk image. So here is the ESP Profile GitHub page, and if we scroll down a bit, we'll find information about the Selector, which is a custom disk image built by Tom Steepleton, which boots into special software which actually lets you choose disk images on the SD card from the Lisa itself. So we're going to download the selector.image.zip, and then we're going to rename the file from selector.image to profile.image. And then we'll stick that into the Lisa in the ES Profile and see what boots. All right, SD card with the disk image, and we'll just unceremoniously shove this in here. Green means good. And look at that, we are booted into this disk image. Man, this screen is really rather wobbly. I wonder if we can recap the video board to fix that. But this image has a couple extra features. Specifically, we can create new disk images. Ah, look, it's going into a screensaver. Ah, neat. And yeah, as we suspected, the keyboard does not work at all. All right, let's tackle repairing this keyboard. The most likely culprit are the key switches themselves, which are foam and foil, and over 40 years, the foam disintegrates into a dust. I've never taken one of these apart before, so I am slightly nervous. Well, I don't think I've ever seen foam and foil keys this crusty before. I mean, the foil is like covered with gunk. Yeah, no wonder this keyboard didn't work. But that's good news. We can pop out the remnants of these horrible things and chuck in some new ones, of which there is only one supplier that I know of, Texelec. Look at this gross pile of garbage that came out of this keyboard. It's literally turned into sand. Now we just need to pop the new foam and foils into the existing bits. I'm just going to hit up the keyboard contacts with a little bit of deoxit. And I guess we'll put this part of the way back together for testing. All right, here goes. It works! Oh yeah, it's alive. Yeah, I can name this image here. We can check the keyboard in this field, I guess. Seems to work fine. Well, I guess, I don't know. Sean.image. What size? 10 megabyte profile. It's working. Yeah, the numpad keys here go up and down. S to select, and then B to boot. On this microSD card, I have put disk images for the Lisa OS 3.1 installer. We can hook this up to the internal floppy cable and turn this on. The cable powers this thing. We'll just make sure we are in Lisa 3.5-inch floppy mode. I'll hit reset on the floppy emu, and I will select boot from the disk. The floppy emu is blinking away. All right, here's the Lisa Office System installer. So I guess let's just go for it. And the Lisa did indeed find the disk connected internally, which of course is our ES profile. Go ahead, we have to initialize it. All right, apparently Lisa is erasing and initializing the disk. Well, unfortunately, I've tried this several times and I keep getting this error message after about an hour of it sitting and saying it's erasing the disk, and I keep trying to call a qualified service representative for help, but for some reason it's not going through.
My plane. Hold everything, fatso!
Oh no, 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 no. But I have a backup plan, and we're gonna get this thing booting no matter what. You heard me. The very kind person who sent me this ES profile also sent me 2 profile disk images of completed installs, and we're gonna try to just boot it off of those. And we are back in the selector, and here's our 2 disk images. We have Lisa OS 2 and Lisa OS 3. So let's try to boot it. It's not happy about that. All right, I guess let's try Lisa OS 2. Oh, it's booting Lisa OS, look at that. It's booting Lisa OS 2. Haha. Everything in this OS works just a little bit differently than you'd expect, because of course they weren't going off of really any previous operating system except maybe the original Xerox OSs. For example, if you want to create a document, you don't open the application and start a new document. You tear off a piece of paper, and that piece of paper will open the application. Did I mention this was slow? Lisa OS is very slow. And it crashed. Okay, I've removed all the other images from the card. The only image on here now is the Lisa OS 3 image, and I've renamed it to profile.image. So we'll see if this just immediately boots up into Lisa OS 3, or maybe that image itself is somehow corrupted. Oh, I think it's booting. All right, let's see if this one will let me open up an application. I assume something has gone wrong. I have an environments dialog. Restart, power off, set default, no default, start. I'm gonna say this is not totally happy. All right, one more attempt to save this install. I've got floppy emu connected again, Lisa OS installer, and I'm gonna use the repair option. Lisa could not repair the disk. Great. All right, well, we technically achieved our goal. The Lisa did, in fact, boot from Lisa OS. It just wasn't very happy about it. So still more work to do to figure out why it keeps crashing. Hopefully it's not something physical with the machine or its memory or something, because I do have some really interesting things in store, including a very special piece of hardware, which should give us a somewhat better Lisa experience. But that'll do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more Lisa shenanigans, please subscribe down below, and thank you very much for watching. And I just want to give a very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters and channel members. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for supporting me and supporting this channel and all the weird stuff I do. I am so very grateful, and I just could not do this without you.